Hello, Blaugrana family. Don't forget to support our channel by liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment at the end. Barcelona, always looking towards the future, has just taken a step forward to strengthen its sports project with intelligence and vision. In the last few hours, it has been revealed that Joan Laporta is not willing to let one of the biggest defensive gems in European football slip away. We are talking about Ukrainian central defender Ilia Zabarnyi, one of the most solid revelations in the Premier League, currently playing for Bournemouth and attracting the interest of several giants on the continent. The Blaugrana president, attentive to market movements and aware of the profile sought by the new coach, has decided to enter the race for this talented defender with determination. The goal is clear: to make Zabarnyi a cornerstone of Barcelona's future. The young central defender, just 22 years old, has shown maturity, hierarchy, and defensive solidity that have not gone unnoticed by recruiters. His time at Bournemouth has been impeccable, demonstrating strength in duels, remarkable technical ability to initiate play from the back, and tactical awareness that sets him apart in a demanding context like English football. Since his arrival at Bournemouth, his progress has been meteoric, and his name has begun to resonate strongly in the offices of the world's most prestigious clubs. Barcelona, far from remaining indifferent, has reacted with a determination that a player of this profile deserves. Deco, the club's sporting director, has presented very positive reports on Zabarnyi and has recommended to the management to act quickly before other clubs conclude his transfer. His youth, combined with the experience gained in a high-level championship, makes him an ideal defender to strengthen the defense of a team that aspires to regain its place among Europe's elite. Laporta has listened carefully to the suggestions of the sports department and, according to rumors within the club, has already authorized the first formal conversations with the player's entourage and with Bournemouth, who would be willing to negotiate for a reasonable amount under the current circumstances. The fact that Paris Saint-Germain has shown interest in Zabarnyi has only accelerated Barcelona's plans. The possibility of seeing the central defender wear the Blaugrana jersey excites not only the management but also the technical staff led by Hansi Flick, who has already given his approval to the operation. The German coach believes that the Ukrainian would fit perfectly into his tactical scheme and would bring solidity to build a reliable defensive block in the long term. Flick is convinced of the need to have young but experienced players who understand modern football and can offer immediate guarantees. Zabarnyi, for his part, has also shown his willingness to wear the club's colors. Sources close to the player claim that he views a transfer to Barcelona very positively, where he believes he can grow even more as a footballer and compete at the highest level, surrounded by a historic structure and one of the best fan bases in the world. For a young man who has moved from Ukrainian football to English football with determination and professionalism, joining Barcelona represents a leap forward in his career and a unique opportunity to be part of an ambitious project where pressure and demand turn into personal and collective growth. The central defender has understood that, beyond the interest of other clubs, Barcelona represents something different. The history, style, football identity, commitment to youth development, and philosophy of play are factors that attract and motivate him. And although the competition for his transfer will not be simple, the player's desire to play for the Blaugrana team could tip the balance in favor of the Catalan club if the negotiations advance with the seriousness and respect that an operation of this magnitude deserves. Bournemouth, aware of the value of their player, has set a figure close to €30 million as the basis for negotiation. A high sum, but within the margins that Barcelona considers acceptable if a strategic departure is finalized in the coming weeks or if financial mechanisms already planned by the management to strengthen the team are activated. In any case, the important thing is that there is a willingness from all parties for the transfer to materialize. And this first step in the world of football is often the most decisive from an institutional point of view. The move would also be consistent with the club's policy. Laporta has repeatedly stated that it is not just about recruiting for the sake of recruiting, but about incorporating young talents hungry for glory, ready to commit to the badge and give their all on and off the field. Zabarnyi meets these conditions. Not only is he a talented footballer, but he is also an upright professional with a winning mentality and the ability to lead from the defense without resorting to excessive protagonism. In a football world that often prioritizes the spectacular over the essential, he represents the figure of the modern defender who still respects the classic fundamentals of a good defender: intelligence, discipline, solidity, and character. The arrival of Zabarnyi would not only strengthen the current team but also send a clear message to the environment. The club is committed to a promising future, with players who raise the competitive level and ensure the continuity of a high-level structure. Furthermore, it would be a way to consolidate Flick's confidence, who needs sporting support to develop his game idea with the appropriate tools. The coach has already demonstrated in his previous stages his ability to transform young promises into undisputed pillars, and with Zabarnyi, he would have a rough diamond to polish and turn into one of the best defenders in Europe. And while in Paris they try to close the operation, in Barcelona, a flame of illusion and ambition has reignited, once again placing Joan Laporta as the great architect of the club's future moves. It is not the first time that, from the French capital, they have believed themselves winners of a bid, only to see, from the Catalan city, intelligent, discreet, and firm action to snatch away the player they took for granted. And now, everything indicates that Zabarnyi could become a new chapter in this story that so unsettles the offices of the Parc des Princes. Laporta, aware that the profile of the young Ukrainian central defender perfectly matches the sports project led by Hansi Flick, has personally taken the reins of the conversations in perfect harmony with Deco. The Blaugrana president not only appreciates Zabarnyi's football potential but also his desire to wear the Blaugrana jersey, something that the player's entourage has hinted at during informal meetings. It is known that Zabarnyi admires the club's philosophy of play and sees himself triumphing in the context of a great team, with history, identity, and an ambition for total football, not just financial power. Joan Laporta, with his strategic vision, knows that Barça is not built solely on talents but also on values and a strong identity. He sees in Zabarnyi not just a promising defender but also a player who embodies the principles of the club. The young Ukrainian has repeatedly expressed his admiration for the way Barça plays and lives football, an aspect that has deeply touched Laporta and his team. For Zabarnyi, joining Barça is not just signing for a club. It's embracing a philosophy, a culture, a way of seeing football that goes far beyond mere financial considerations. In Paris, on the other hand, they confuse economic power with real prestige. PSG, with its colossal financial resources, attracts talents by promising astronomical salaries and unparalleled media exposure. But the gold of the Parisian shop windows cannot buy the essential, the authentic respect that is only obtained with years of history, with titles built from the heart and not from the wallet. PSG collects stars like others collect trophies, but it lacks that soul, that identity that makes the greatness of legendary clubs. They want to recruit young talents with a checkbook, but forget that great players also choose with their hearts. And that's where Barça makes the difference. Here, they don't just promise money, they promise to be part of a family, a legacy. Barça is much more than a club. It's an institution that has inspired generations of footballers and supporters. It's a unique footballing lifestyle, where every player is called to write their own page in cool history. Barça is the promise of playing total football, football that enchants and wins, football that remains etched in memories. This isn't the first time PSG has tried to fish in waters where Barça has already cast its nets, but not all fish bite the oil hook. Zabarnyi, according to sources close to his entourage, is more interested in developing in a competitive environment, with real tactical demands, with supporters who vibrate for good football and not for artificial spectacles. His time in the Premier League has served to mature him, to understand what it truly means to play at the highest level. He doesn't want to take a step back, doesn't want to become just another name on the list of a club that collects players like cards, without a real sports project. Hansi Flick, the German coach, has already given his approval for Zabarnyi's arrival. Convinced that the young defender can bring hierarchy, presence, and sobriety to a defense in reconstruction, Flick sees him as an ideal candidate to strengthen the Blaugrana defense. His anticipation skills, tactical intelligence, and physical deployment are major assets that could make him one of the pillars of the team. Under Flick's tutelage, Zabarnyi has every chance to reach a new level of performance and become one of the best defenders in Europe. At this stage of the market, every decision counts. Every move has consequences that can change the course of the season and make the difference between success and disappointment. That's why seeing Joan Laporta take the initiative in strategic recruitment like this should be a source of optimism for all those who carry the club's colors in their hearts. It's not a risky bet, but a smart investment in a rare profile, a player with the potential to mark the history of Barça. The Cule supporters, always attentive and demanding, will undoubtedly have a lot to say about this. What do you think of this possible recruitment? Do you think Zabarnyi would be a good addition to the team? Do you agree with the momentum Laporta is giving to this move? It is certain that the club is not stopping and that, when it moves with conviction, the possibilities of success multiply. The future is under construction, and perhaps Zabarnyi is destined to be one of the fundamental pieces of this new chapter. Only time will tell, but the signs are encouraging, and hope is reborn at Camp Nou.